I don't have access to Facebook at the moment.
Okay, I think it's in gaming. Mele tshayela kuzeni phela ithiwa yini i-promoting leya. But angiyibona.
Izinto zangikhona.
Mana ngizama ukuyi-check-a ku-computer i-Facebook ngibona ukuthi i-live yini. Oh Jesus, Facebook lesi funa i-password. Angisayazi i-password yakho. Why you check your phone in? I think it's live on Facebook. It was.
What?
How news? I think it's live on Facebook.
You are live.
Yeah, we are live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Talking Football with Ezra Tshisa. I'm here going. It's your host, Ntare Tai, aka Tai. I'm going with Mtandazo Tebe here. It's sponsored by Kudi Business on African Global Media. Okay, let's go. How are you feeling today, Tebe?
I'm good. Ngibingelela abalaleli wherever they are. We're talking soccer, talking football, sponsored by Kudu Business. Let's hope we will have a good show. We've had some glitches. We can only apologize for that.
Yeah, the technical glitches being caused by the Zim network that Ezra is using. But where can we start? We can start anywhere, really. From it's been International Week, all the football that we all accustomed to has been on break with this international break, the FIFA calendar. So, yeah, what have you got to say about any surprises on the results on these international games that have played so far?
I can only comment on the Zimbabwe national team. We congratulate them for qualifying for the AFCON 2021, not 2022, but it's 2021 being played retrospectively. But I think in Zimbabwe football, we've got a massivest challenge in terms of from top to bottom. Performance coach wethu, I was looking at some of his statistics. It's a sorry sight. It's a sorry sight. And to think that we are going into a major tournament, we don't go into tournaments just to participate. You go into tournaments to win tournament. So, hopefully by the time we get to go to Cameroon, a lot of these players will have started playing in their respective leagues, whether they are home talent or even foreign-based players. Abanye maybe retire, there are some old horses there that probably by the time we play in January, probably they won't be playing football anymore. But we've got to work with the squad that we've got. But technically, our preparation is always poor, and then we've got a very poor manager at the moment. What's the feeling? What's the general feeling, Tshisa?
Maybe there's some excitement on the ground. Just hear from the word on the ground.
And the worst thing is we lost to Zambia as well. But it was a dead rubber game.
I understand that game because it was dead rubber. I understand that game. But having said that, this is the first foreign coach to qualify Zimbabwe to a major tournament. At the same time, I have to take it with a pinch of salt to remember the draw was quite kind for us. We're having 3 SADC teams in the same group. And then the best team in Africa, which is Algeria there. And then as well, just the traveling. It means in Zimbabwe it was it used that advantage, that to their advantage, not to travel very far. Botswana, Zambia, and Zimbabwe is like the neighbors. It's just local. And then as well, it also the best side is about it is you have to eliminate 2 Southern African teams there, and then that's the best side about it. And I'm talking about the coaches, the first foreigner to qualify us, but this is not the same CAF that the AFCON that used to be played before. They've increased the numbers, so it's much easier now to qualify than before.
Okay. But the performances, Maduda, they were poor, man. I mean, I've heard. I unfortunately for this one, I didn't watch this one. But I remember watching one of the Zimbabwe matches. The standard young corner, so he is so far behind. To think that we will play other stronger nationals, it really leaves a lot to be desired, and we need, which is why I was saying, I was putting Zifa into it as well and saying, this needs a complete overhaul from top to bottom. You can't have Botswana preparing for more than 3 weeks, and then you come within a few days and then you prepare for a game with the likelihood of traveling as well. Come on, what do you expect players to do?
But at the same time, with that poor preparation, they went ahead and beat Botswana at their own home ground. So
who is Botswana, man? Who is Botswana?
With an excuse there. However, let me see what the comments are saying there about these things. Yeah. They're saying good job, and Nabuto Pagat is asking where is Brian. I don't know where Brian is. We've been waiting and waiting for Brian. He's delayed the show. And then he also, Ezra, thanks for stimulating those Boso elections. That's in Nabuto Pagati. And then today we need a proper creativity on this platform. Okay, come up with ideas, Nabuto. I don't know what creativity you can do about that. He said the state of football in SA. Yeah, that is one of those, we need to really talk about. South Africa failed to qualify. They went to play the last game to Sudan. Sudan is ranked 127, I think, in the world. And then South Africa is ranked, is it 71 or something like that? And South Africa needed a draw to qualify. Guess what? They lost there to Sudan 2-0. So,
are you underrating Sudan? Remember Sudan in the last AFCON that they played in. I remember them playing quite well. So I mean, in home advantage as well. They would have been at home.
But the home advantage doesn't work now. You're playing in an empty stadium, so that one it falls away really. Unless
African buyer sevenza check.
Unless they do those, no, not in Mbappe say they do those ill treatments and put you in those scrappy at the hotels and stuff like that, and do all those shenanigans that they do outside football
to demoralize you. Yes.
Yeah. And then they play the games maybe outside the main city, so that you have to travel. There's no airport when you land. You have to use bus. I saw also with the Zimbabwean traveling. It was another crazy traveling thing that they did, going to Botswana, which is a neighboring country. They flew from Harare to South Africa, from South Africa, Johannesburg. They flew from Johannesburg to
They landed in
Gaborone.
Francistown.
They Gaborone, and
No,
then
they landed in Francistown.
No, the game was played in Francistown. So they flew from Joburg to Gaborone, flew from Gaborone to Francistown. I said, the logistics in Africa sometimes.
I think that is not a correct statement. I think I heard it on the radio the other week. They were talking about that traveling arrangement didn't happen as people are saying, that they had to do all those stopovers.
No. The rumor is saying that they traveled they flew from Harare to Joburg, and then from Joburg to Gaborone, and then from Gaborone to Francistown by road. But no, they denounced that statement. They said no, they flew again from Gaborone, from Gaborone to where? To Francistown, where the game was played. I think even Botswana was trying to play some dirty tricks to take the game to Francistown, knowing that there's no direct flights from Zim and stuff like that. So that you have to. And then I saw the game was.
Are you telling me? Are you telling me that? Are you telling me that Zifa couldn't even hire a jet or one of these smaller planes to take Zimbabwe from say Harare into Francistown?
No, sometimes.
You know, they could have taken them into Francistown.
No, those planes are expensive. You remember that plane will be based in South Africa. So that plane to take it from South Africa to come to Harare and then flew to Botswana, the cost will be expensive. And then you remember, I saw the new president, Patrice Motsepe, talking about the prize monies, because it doesn't make any economic sense to go to try to qualify in a tournament that will not give you any money, but to spend a hell of a lot of money, So what's the point?
They do get the money. These football associations, they do get the money from Zifa. They don't just do these things for nothing. They do get the money. They do get the funding.
How much is the funding? Do you also have to be honest and be realistic? How much is the funding?
Funding, which is why
these associations.
But Ty, football doesn't just operate on its own. It operates with businesses. If the football is it's a viable business, it's an investment opportunity for those businesses. They advertise their businesses or in football platforms or in football stadiums. So if the football is run properly, then they should make money in liaison with the businesses of the country.
Yeah, but the point is the football hasn't been run in a proper way. Remember all these qualifying matches and the AFCON itself. No African broadcaster is playing those matches. Those games, they sold them to some other French company or something. You have to go and buy them there. They come, it doesn't make any business at all now.
Which again points to the fact that there's poor running of our football business anyway. Maybe we need to move on from this Loguzed business management, football management, of African football. But is the AFCON still the same tournament that Amatima Arsenal used to be able to scout players and bring them to the Premier League for cheap?
I think the scouts will be there. The scouts will be there certainly, but at the same time, like I'm saying, I think the quality of the competition has been a bit diluted by just accepting. They increased it from 16 teams to how much? 24. So, sometimes some of these teams, they're just there to make up numbers. I remember the other before, I think it was Botswana who went there, and then Zimbabwe missed out. They just embarrassed themselves. They even never won a game or something.
But Botswana had played better. I hadn't expected Botswana to do that well. For a country that probably dependent on Zimbabwe to raise their footballing standards. I think they did quite well in that last AFCON that they played in. But let's see what happens in this coming one. This Zimbabwe and Malawi representing. I don't know if Malawi has even got any international best players, but you know, whether having international status makes any difference is neither here nor there, I think.
Yeah, sometimes you remember Egypt used to dominate the AFCON with the local best players, because with them anyway, it's different how they run their football. They've got money, they pump in money there. So their players, they don't just go to these small European teams to earn peanuts. They pay better than those countries like Norway, and then these Scandinavian countries, Sweden, they don't pay much. Yeah, so there's no point of going into those countries.
You see, you guys underestimate Malawi at your own peril. Those guys have at least 18 to 20 players that are based outside Malawi. So some based in the Premier Soccer League in South Africa, few in Mozambique, couple in America. So they do have some sort of football level going on. And in terms of the whole Botswana thing, yes, Botswana used to rely on Zimbabwe in terms of football as a football market, in terms of sending players to Zim to play in the Zim League. Zambia used to do the same. Even Malawi used to do the same. But they don't do that anymore. And this is reflective of Zimbabwe in general, where even students used to be sent to Zimbabwe to learn high school, secondary school, primary school. That used to happen, but it doesn't happen anymore. Tertiary schools, because we need to get away from this idea that, well, we could be better than what we are. The truth is, our football is not good enough at an administrative level. The league is rubbish. And the standard of football that we're going to produce as a national team is rubbish. We are just going there to make up numbers. We're not qualifying for anything. You know what? I find it, we're just going there for just a party, really, more than anything else. So let's enjoy it. Let's go party, come back home.
They won't even party, Brian. They will even struggle to be returned home. You know how usually the foreign-based players end up paying for the hotel bills, paying for the flight tickets to come back. It's really poor, man. It's to say the least.
In these COVID times, oh Lord, can you imagine?
I don't know who we offended, guys, in terms of our Zimbabwean football. It's getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, I'm still here. Just I want to read the comments before we move away from a Zimbabwean issue. It says, James Maki, says, in Warrior setup, we are only relying on individual brilliance like the likes of Kama, Mahachi, Musona. There's no coaching happening. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's absolutely true there. And then Umthembo Dubu okwamanje lisakhuluma kahle madoda kodwa ngiyazi selizoqala ukukhuluma ngabo menu kube ngani i-team yelizwe lonke like lime ukukhuluma ngayo namhlanje. I'm not going to talk about menu today. Mthembo stand by. All right, okay. I think we have talked too much about the Zimbabwean football, unless if you've got anything to say about the African state of football in mind. I didn't hear your comment about your South Africa missing.
Well, South Africa missing out. I was surprised actually that they needed a draw, but then they couldn't get the draw against Sudan. Yet the previous game they played against Ghana and drew against Ghana, who I thought Ghana were quite a strong opposition than probably Sudan. But they managed to draw against Sudan, which is surprising. Maybe again that home advantage that we're saying doesn't work. Maybe it worked in their favor, because against Ghana they played in South Africa, and then against Sudan they were away. So who knows?
Yeah,
Who
and
knows?
the Ghana didn't have their best players as well. But with the problem with the South African, when I'm looking at it, the coach himself is a novice. You know, he never coached any football team. He's just been coming from these young developing sides, and then to be given a national team. From what I understand before, the way it used to be done, you coach a team maybe in the local league, you win a couple of league titles and trophies, and then you get elevated to the national team. Not just to come from development and then you be given the senior national team. It doesn't make sense.
So, would you agree with the notion that for you to be a manager, a national team manager, you have to have a lot of experience? You can't just come. For instance, who is a young coach in Zimbabwe that we can say you can't have the likes of our Caesar Khoza suddenly coming up and coaching the national team.
No, it's the national team is a different catch of fish altogether, because with the national team you're not coaching anymore, you're just managing. The players, they come with 2 days to go, or 1 day training session, or 3 days.
Come on, get off here, man. You're better than that. You're not coaching the national team.
No, you're just managing, because
no. You're actually coaching more than managing, because you actually have to implement tactics very quickly amongst the players. You actually don't even manage anything. More than anything else, you get them on the field quickly, implement tactics, get them working on your tactics, get the players working in your system.
Let me ask you the difference between coaching and managing.
Managers, when we're talking about managing in a football term, we're talking about a whole setup, the whole massive setup. For example, Sir Alex Ferguson was a very good manager. Pep Guardiola is a very good coach, but he's not a great manager, in the sense that the whole club, who Sir Alex Ferguson ran the whole club to the point that if you went on a night out, he would know who you went with, what you drank, right? But when it came to actually the tactics being implemented on the field, Mike Pilani, Mike Phelans, the Spanish guy, those are the people that implemented the tactics, were with the players one-to-one most of the time, and say, okay, you do this, you do that. When that's the major difference.
Okay.
Whereas Pep Guardiola is with his players 24/7, doesn't manage them.
Okay. You explained that, and now on the national team, you're coming there with players with 3 days preparation. You are not doing the coaching. The tactics you are talking, you go to the drawing board. Okay, we're gonna play this system. I've analyzed the opposition. We're gonna go with 4-3-3, or we're gonna go with 4-4-2, or we're gonna go 3-5-2, and then with the players at your disposal as well. You know each and every player where he's playing at in their current club. You have got all the statistics. You got all the what. You know everyone. Now you just tell them, this is the system. This is what we're gonna do. It's managing. Let's go in.
No. You've got it totally wrong on that aspect.
You are creating the players every day. You say, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm gonna do. The set pieces. Jose Mourinho, like he does, he likes to do it over and over and over and over. No, you can't do them every day over and over.
No, but this is where you're missing the point.
One day the players are recovering, and the next day you have to manage. You have to manage that system all the time.
No.
If you manage the national team, you would lose.
If you manage national team, you won't achieve anything, my friend. Because let me tell you what happens.
That's what I'm gonna do. I know every player when they arrive, I give them the cooperation time, and then that's managing. That's not coaching. That's managing.
No, Mta. Mabe figure the first thing when they arrive in camp, first thing that's done, they have to go for a training session almost straight away. Unless of the players that have taken a knock, they spend time with the fitness team for a bit. But the first thing they do is they go for a training session. In that session, the head coach or the manager, whoever is picking up the session, does coaching to say, so to the left, when Mason Mount is coming in, or that's coaching. That's 100% coaching, because you are telling somebody how to shift their body, how to align within your tactics. That's coaching. Managing is to do with the whole setup in terms of bottom to top. What are you eating? Where are you? Where is this and that? This is the formulation we have. These guys, what separates the good managers on international level and the bad ones is the fact that the good ones have quick wit to actually implement their tactics and coach their players within a very short space of time. You're getting a player from a whole different system to put him into a whole new different system. For example, Kyle Walker playing at the back of a 3 as a centre back. You can't tell me no coaching goes into that. It's just when I Walker, you know how to play in Genarapa. That's where the problem is with our football in Africa in general.
As a manager, you should know all the strength of your players. Okay, this player comes from this team. They play this system. So is he good when playing at the 3 at the back? Because playing 4 at the back and playing 3 at the back is two different things.
So how do you know with Kyle Walker because he's never played at 3 anyway at Manchester City?
No, that's what I'm saying.
That fit him in there?
That's what I'm saying. That you know each and every player where he's coming from. I'm saying something, but you still don't want to listen to it. You say to the player, you know the players, which team they play for, what system do they play there, what position does he play there.
But you can still coach a player, Angiti, and tell him, look, I know you're a centre back, but in our formation, this is how I want us to do it because I've got A, B, C, D to cover this bit, and I want you to play in a 4, even if the player is used to playing in a 3. In a 3 at the back.
So do you tell me that Gareth Southgate is coaching the English players? I know you, your team,
100%.
Play. I want you to do. No, it's just going there.
No.
Yes, that's the England setup. The clubs are different setup.
That's a very poor example because Gareth Southgate,
I'm managing you here.
He's a top level coach, especially with that team, even from under 21s. Top level coach. Gareth Southgate is actually a very poor example when you're looking for coaching within the national setup because he's actually a good coach.
You can't put an analogy of football club coaches and then the national team coaches. We're talking of national team. No, that's what I'm telling you because that guy also him, Luke Razet, he doesn't spend time with the players. The players, they come late because of different reasons. You can't say to them, I'm gonna coach you now. What gonna tell the player?
No, Ty, he calls those players, Angiti. He calls those players because he knows, okay, I need, say, like, if he says, okay, in my formation, I need to play 4 at the back. So maybe I'm going to call 6 defenders. I'm going to call 8 midfielders because I'm going to play 4. And then I'm going to need maybe, 2 strikers. So I'm going to need maybe at least 4 strikers to come into the squad. Those that he pick for his lineup.
This is why that first training session is very crucial.
You calling them with that every information in mind that, okay, this is the system that's going to play. So I need more defenders, maybe going there to defend, or I need more midfielders because of such we're going to there to attack. We want to keep possession. You know, okay, the opposition, I know how they play. So this is how I'm planning to set up my team. You understand? And then when they come, you tell them, this is how we're gonna go. These people, this is how they play. This is the danger man. You assign somebody.
But you do realize that's part of coaching. That's not managing.
I want you to go there and
that's not managing.
No, I want to put no. You are telling them that I want you to marshal this danger man. Then they will know
coaching.
That, okay.
That's the point. That is coaching. Being on the blackboard with your players and giving them direction. This is what we are doing. That is part of coaching, Ty. Coaching is not only just on the field. It's actually part of coaching. It's part of the analytics and everything. It's part of the video session. When I'm doing my coaching at the university, we have 3 different sessions. The first session, we look at the film. Guys, this is the film of our last game. We go off to the field. The second session after the field, we come back for a film. Guys, this is the team we're going to face. This is what I want you to do. When I want you here, I want you on top there, and you at the bottom here. Then we go off to our last session, do a little walkthrough. This is all part of coaching. When you bring in the managing side of it now, is Gareth Southgate not even involved in that whole process? Him just sitting at the back and putting people in place to actually get these things going. It's him sitting at the back, making sure the diet is okay for these guys. It's him sitting at the back, making sure that this and that is set up for these guys to keep going. That's the managing aspect of it. This is why even you look at some teams like Zimbabwe, they have a manager, then they have a head coach. Even look at Southgate, he's not a manager. He's actually the head coach with some extra responsibilities, right? So all that is just part of coaching. It's just the analytics and the videography of it, of the whole setup for coaching. So to say, sit down with them and say, Lingena Kumpa, this is Haaland. Haaland is good at this. Block him. That's coaching. So the coaching doesn't stop. It keeps going.
Yeah, but
so to move on, I think are we okay with that foreign-based coach, or do we need a local-based coach? Well, what can we do as Zimbabwe?
But the first of all, how much is the guy paying, and who is paying him? It puzzles me in Zimbabwe. All the local coaches, they are being owed money. Most of them, they left because they're not getting paid. I think they still owe, whether is it Kaliso Pasu, Nome Mapeza, Raman Kumbo. All of them, they get owed money. They don't pay them. But when you bring a foreigner, they pay them in time and everything, good money as well. I don't understand it.
You might find, just like we used to, you have a situation like when we had Fabish. Fabish was paid by German Football Association, I believe.
Yeah,
I remember that one.
Setup.
Maybe
yeah, that was a different setup.
Maybe it's donated. That's why it's probably difficult to sack him, despite his poor results.
Yeah, but he has qualified now. I think he has to finish his assignment, and then when he fails,
the job was already done. The job was already done by Joey Antipas.
Yeah, I'm sure he's also owed money there. Well, what he needs to do, he must be given a mandate there. If you fail to pull through the group stages, then you are fired.
So the other thing that I was hoping that we'd look at was the new Boso administration. Ezra was raving about it, seeing as Wuti, maybe he could have given us a better feel of what it's going to be like at Boso. Or maybe if you can check your comments, maybe there's people that have commented there about the state of Boso at the moment with the new administration.
Yeah. I don't see the Boso comments here. Everyone is talking about, I think it's Utando SP says South Africa is dominated by foreign players, hence they are struggling. Secondly, politics is the issue with their administration while they have so much resources.
Okay.
So about the Boso issue, I've lost in touch with what's happening in Zim and the Boso thing. So the previous administration, I don't know. The current one, I don't even know them. So it's a bit difficult for me to comment about them, really.
Mm-hmm. But I found it surprising that somebody who is known to have embezzled money is allowed to just pay the money back and let to go scot-free. Isn't that setting a precedence that, okay, you can wrong us and then all you have to do is just, we just give you a slap on the wrist and you just go? What guarantee is there that person will pay the money back? Which again leads to the transparency issues about when look at sponsorships. You can't get sponsorships when you poorly manage finances like that.
Yeah, it is. It is a really bad, really, to be honest with you. But I don't know. Yeah, let's move forward with this European as well, that football that needs to be talked about. I think Wales is playing now. I'm just watching Wales. They're playing against Czech. It's still 0-0. Second half is about to start now.
Okay.
I think they played one game before Wales, and then they lost to Belgium. And then today they're playing Czech Republic, which is a good game as well. A tough game for them, yeah.
Over Republic Island, Sevawa.
Yeah, all the,
Republic of Ireland, go for Northern Ireland.
The problem with these all these qualifying games, there's so many mediocre teams that are playing. Even the Englands, they play these teams. What are their names?
San Marino.
I heard about the history of that team. They've never won a football game. I think they won one friendly match, which was way big.
But look at the likes of Georgia. Georgia is improving. Georgia gave Spain a hard time. I think did they win or did they draw? No, I think
they drew. Is it? I think they drew 2-2 or something. Let me just check some few results here and see what happened on Saturday.
Spain did win in the last minute.
Oh,
they did win last minute, yes.
I saw another game that was quite interesting, Serbia and Portugal, that ended in 2-2 when Cristiano Ronaldo's goal was that clearly crossed the line and was denied. It was
they don't have a VAR.
Yeah, it was not given. Yeah, that was something. In Europe, no VAR, no even goal line technology. Not even VAR, goal line technology. Yeah, and then Belgium also played Czech Republic 1-1. That was another interesting game. Germany beat Romania 1-0. Yeah, Spain beat Georgia 2-1. And then France beat Kazakhstan 2-0. Scotland and Ireland 1-1. England beat Albania 2-0. And
now this is where you see where there's what's his name? There's a guy who commented there and said South African football is dominated by foreign-based players, right? So if I was to use the same example of, say, like in England they talk about, there's so many foreign-based players, blah blah blah, this and this, and then that they tend to choose players for the national team that play in the Premier League. But then if you look at the teams that give England, or maybe that give all these other nations that say that they're dominated by foreign-based players, if you play the nations of those players where they come from, you find they give them trouble. Take, for instance, like the likes of over Hungary. Hungary, Labo Republic of Ireland, Labo Northern Ireland, their players play in the lower leagues, but pit them against our England, our France, our one man. They give them a hard time.
You see, the thing is
to say, those leagues, the championship and maybe League One, they are looked down upon. But those players, when they play for their national teams, they up the game.
The thing is about blueprint. More when you get to the national level, you should have a blueprint coming from a very young age all the way through to the national team. So from the under 16 level, you start looking at those guys. Under 21s, you start looking at them to say, this is my core of players that will then develop. You look at even Spain. You see how Spain became very successful is that they're the core of players that have been developed through the national setup as well. So Sergio Busquets, Andres Iniesta, Xavi Hernandez, David Villa, they might have played for different clubs, but they went through the whole system together from under 16s, 21s, all the way through to the national squad. This is what separates successful teams and not so successful teams in the national tournaments mostly. So if you go to Brazil today, for example, if you go to Brazil, you'll realize that all those guys have played together from a very young age. Or Neymar, Jesus, they at some point came together, contacted together in the 21s or something like that. So these guys, they have a blueprint to say, okay, this is our core that we take to the national team. This is why our national team will make it. So even the small teams you're talking about, or Hungary, they have a core to say, this is our core. Whether they play League One, whether they play Eastern League, it really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, that is their core, the five or so that work around everybody. There's a five, and then everything works around those two to five crucial, however many guys have picked. Now, this is where the problem England has had for a long time, is that they want to group players together later on or get players to skip stages. Right now, there's a lot of players in that team that should be playing in the under-21 current tournament happening right now, the under-21 Euro tournament. They shouldn't even be in that national side, but they're being fast-tracked to get into the national side. Right now, Phil Foden, as much as I love Phil and I think he's a massive talent, Phil should not be in that team. He should be playing in the under-21 national championships that are happening at the moment. Even with that, England has failed to qualify without him, right? So Katesi, the likes of Brewster that are playing in that tournament will get discarded anyway by the time it comes to the national team. They won't be good enough anymore. Then as a result, you're always having to try and mix and match the team constantly. Because now, in 5 years, Phil Foden will be established. You bring in another kid from the other 21s to say, okay, Ngena, like they did with Walcott. We are Ngena. It becomes another problem altogether. So I think England needs to start having a blueprint. Those kids that won the Under-17 World Cup should still be playing together, but they're not. Some are in the 21, some are in the national team. And that's not helpful for England. This is why England can't go anywhere. It's all about having a very solid blueprint. You even look at USA. As much as people diss USA football, women and men's teams, they have a blueprint. Those kids have played together in college as a national setup, then went all the way through the ranks to the national team together. There's a blueprint there of some sort. This is what makes the difference. And it's something that we don't even have in Africa as well in our setup. UK South African system, you just get discovered. He's there. Kangen. All right. That's it.
So, Brian, what about the exceptional players then? That are really good. A city for example, I want to Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney probably went into the national team when he was what? He was probably 18. I don't think he ever even went into the under 19 and 21 squad. He was fast tracked, but as much as he hasn't won anything, I think he has performed well for England.
Yeah, he's the record goal scorer of England now. Yeah,
you get exceptional talents, but even with that, I think there needs to be a level of slowdown. Like right now, we're talking about qualifying. I give an example of Phil Foden. Right now, we're doing qualifiers against Albania. Come on, give me a bloody break. What does Phil Foden need to be there for against Albania? Instead, take Phil Foden, let him go and play with Switzerland. Let him go and play with Spain in the Under-21 Championship.
A more competitive match.
It's a much more competitive game for him than Albania. And besides, with that England team, he's going to come in for what? 20 minutes? 30 minutes? Okay. One might argue that it's more than the time on the field. It's the fact that he's around that environment of having top players around him. Very
but he already has
exceptional
that
players.
Club level.
But he gets that at club level as well anyway, as you're saying. So he's better off to play in the under-21s than progress him up. Tshisa.
I think, the point that some players, because I was just wondering myself, I was looking at these players of the under 21, they are struggling. They've lost 2 games. And then I was just thinking, why can't they just bring all these young players together there and help that team to move forward and qualify than to keep saying, they fast-tracked Wilcott like they did in that first World Cup when he just signed for Arsenal, never played for a game, he went to the World Cup. They say they're integrating him and stuff like that. But it really killed his progress, to say. Because if you fast-track players, they get sit on the bench and do play those minutes. But if they go into their age group, they get to have more game time.
Mute up Tshisa.
I can tell you from this place, isn't it?
Yes. We don't have the powers yet to mute him from here.
I can tell you from this side. I'm trying to see.
I mean, I'm only inclusion. I begrudge it because Umalon Held, why he top goal scorer, and he missed out on that opportunity of being.
It was Darren Bent. It was Darren Bent. I remember that season very well. It was Darren Bent, highest goal scorer in England. And they took.
But at least Darren Bent did get some corner. But they were short of strikers and they left it to goal scorer and took Walcott, who hasn't played a Premier League match.
Yeah, that was scandalous. But then
Tshisa! Yes, Tshisa, but volume ngapo muthi mic yakho.
Finally.
Yeah,
but this is what I'm talking about with the blueprint. And like we're saying, Kates, Phil Foden should be playing in the under 21 and a few of those guys that are in that squad. Then they build the chemistry, right?
Yeah.
So that now, okay, fair enough. Phil goes to the Euros, to the proper Euros in this coming summer. You take Phil, there he goes. But he's already built the chemistry, Lavana that are in the 21s. So that now what happens is when the next 21 cycle comes through, Phil has already got chemistry with those guys. But at the moment, Vele Agula chemistry within the England team, and that's been a symptom since 1992, where people are just being fast-tracked. Get into the team, hurry up. Next thing he gets into the team, Kasabon Lut. I believe firmly that Wayne Rooney would have had a better career if he had played a little bit of under 21s. And I believe that England would have been a better team as well, because they would have had time to see who do you play where between Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard. Do we need Michael Carrick or do we need Paul Scholes? Now, especially at a time where they're at the most talented midfield core. Think about it. Michael Carrick, Steven Gerrard, Scholes, Lampard. What's the manager at Fulham? What's his name? Scotty Parker. You had Owen Hargreaves. Those are the midfielders, and I haven't even got to over Mark Noble, right? Those were the midfielders that England had. Now tell me, if they had time together in the 21s, you would have managed to have time to have a system, and to the point that even when the 21 coaches go to Fabio Capello and say, "Listen, Fabio, now pass one you know." With Gerrard and Lampard, Gerrard needs to sit deeper, put Lampard up front a little bit. In between, 8, maybe one fire somebody else, or Hargreaves sit, Lampard 8, and then you work around. Something like that. You could have worked something, but because they never had that chemistry, they were just bundled in. Come FIFA World Cup, we need both of them to play. We don't know where they're playing though, but they have to play. Again, we go back to that debate of the coaching side of it. It's difficult to coach that national team because you have to coach them quickly. But if they don't understand your tactics, then it's not happening.
Good. So, we were going to do our English selection, weren't we?
Kalisanin, let's see your selection very quickly. It's nearly time. Let's go.
Okay, Mina, I'm going with a 4-3-2-1. Okay, and in goal,
Let's let the listeners know Peltis Kulmangan and our England set up.
It's Ty who is the host. Okay, we are going to now. We're going to move on to the England national team, and we set up to have our best 11 or our prospective first 11 from each person's own perspective. So my first lineup is I am going to go with Pop from Burnley as my number one because I think he's a good shot stopper. I haven't gone with Pickford because I think Pickford can be erratic at times and does some really stupid mistakes. I think Pope seems to be a bit more circled. Experience might let him down, but I'm going to go with Pope. And then at right back, because we don't have Trent Alexander-Arnold, I've gone for Walker. And then I'm going to go for Maguire at centre back, partnered by John Stones. And then I've got Luke Shaw on the left. Okay, so that's my 4 there. So in my midfield, I picked Henderson and, sugar. I didn't come up with the other 2. But I am going to choose Foden. I do like Foden in there. I haven't come up with another one, but I'll find him. So my 2 attacking left wingers, my 2 left attacking wingers, I've gone for Sterling and Rashford, and then up top, I am going to go with Kane.
Brian, tell us yours. Because I'm
No,
I didn't prepare my team. I just want to see if I can bring up a good team.
What do you say?
No, I mean, I'm not an English fan, so
England is not for you. Man, I get this up very but in goal, ngiyavumelana Lomta, starting with Pope in goal, but I'm going for a back 3, playing a 3-5-2. So back 3 would be Keane, Stones, Maguire. That would be my back 3. Then what I'll have, Lapana is out there, maybe have Trent Alexander-Arnold, because I think he's better going forward, obviously, rather than when he's defending. If I was going a back 4, I would have even actually picked Wan-Bissaka, because I think Wan-Bissaka, when it comes to defending one-on-one, probably one of the best one-on-one defenders in the country. Now, where it gets tricky for me is the other side. But in the midfield, anyway, for the time being, midfield, I'm going to have Henderson there. I think slightly sitting around there is very helpful. Declan Rice is good, but I worry sometimes about Declan Rice. I don't know why.
No creativity, I think.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Ngati creativity to Malumes, but so we see.
But it's a typical English players thing, anyway.
True. Got saying up, man, get this. Tayungapi.
Mina khona, I'm following.
Go on, get this up, get this here.
All right. At goal, I'll put I'll put this Everton goalkeeper. I'll differ with you there. And then good defensive I want to play 4-3-3. I'll put Maguire, Luke Shaw, and then John Stones. 4 and 5 Stones. Yeah, Stones low Maguire. And then kuma fullbacks, I think I'll Trent and Luke Shaw. And then mid 3. Mason Mount.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I can put Mount, and then Jesus.
It's a headache
Yeah,
in the midfield there.
yeah, I mean, Diakona, it's a bit tricky because I want to put, and then I'll put maybe Jordan Sancho on the other wing. Jack Grealish, I need Jack Grealish there. Yeah, put Jack Grealish on the other one. You play as a 10. And then front three, Hurricane, Lapana. And then on the sides, I can put Bakayo Saka and Raheem Sterling. And put Raheem Sterling. Let Saka the Sterling on the sides. And then Rashford will come from the bench.
Okay. Mnamanje yami sengitshayile 3-5-2. Sengitshayile 3-5-2. Very different team. Ngoba Pope is going to be in goal. Keane with Everton. Stones, Maguire, back three. Henderson in the midfield. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Luke Shaw out wide. Mason Mount, Jack Grealish just up the top there controlling the strings. And then I'll have Kane and Danny Ings up top. Because I think those two can interchangeably play with 10, the out and out striker quite easily. Then, 60 minutes, labo Sancho, labo Sterling, just to run people out of the game, labo Rashford. Done.
Good. You know what they say about the back three, don't you?
But in a back three,
they say back three. You only play a back three when you've got shit midfielders. when you've got shit defenders. So I don't know what Lapana on rubbish ngubani.
Lapana entirely creativity with Utrent Losho. They have mean crosses. Then you get those three at the back to marshal everything when that's when a cleaner yonkinto. Then let everyone play free football up top, which is I think is lacking in that team anyway. Free football, let people play.
Yeah, I think with England it's always a challenge to when it comes to creativity. They don't have those players that can make something happen out of nothing. Maybe the likes of over Foden, maybe they've got something. Foden, I can see it. That's why I wanted Foden in my team. But over Sterling, sometimes you get very clever defenders who will drive him out wide, and they won't get anything out of the game.
That I fully agree with you. This is why I'm not very keen on Sterling. I think he's brilliant on his day, don't get me wrong. But I think Ungamvale Gemin fully. Like he doesn't have, I call it the power of unlocking things. He doesn't have the power of unlocking things. You see people like De Bruyne, Foden, they can have a very bad game for 60, 70, 80 minutes. But then they'll have that 1 minute where they will see a pass that no one else has seen on the field, make it happen, and next thing, boom, it's a goal. This is the best thing about players like what David Silva, Foden, De Bruyne. They had that sort of quality, which I think Sterling doesn't have. Once you lock him out of a game, he goes very blind and he tries to dribble past people that he can't.
The Sterling guy that you are talking about, you remember, you always is the first name on Man City's lineup. That team that is so packed with talent.
Yeah, for Man City it works. If
it works for Man City,
this is a different manager. This is a different manager. Remember, he's an English manager who also, the way Gareth Southgate plays his football. If he's losing, he's like Roy Hodgson. If he's losing, he doesn't want to lose by a lot. He's a typical defender. When he's losing, it does damage limitation. He's not that kind of manager who will say, okay, I'm losing now, I need to go for it. No.
So and then the other thing as well is the way Man City play, they play with, when they don't have the ball, they press. England doesn't press a lot. And secondly, what Man City do when they have the ball is create spaces for each other. England, they hardly create spaces. Well, Man City is what we call touch and go football. As soon as I give you the ball, that ball, I have to go and make space, which means I've dragged 2 or 3 defenders. As soon as you receive the ball, you need to find where I am because I've made space, and then move on from there. Guys, I think we're way past the show now. Let's wrap it up.
We haven't read any comments.
The comments, Umtembo, I think
Thank you,
Umtembo
guys.
too was talking about line up Brian, what he left to Mount.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. This has been Talking Football, Talking Soccer with Ezra Tshisa, even though he's in the taxi today. This has been sponsored by Kudu Business. Thank you very much for all having us and lending us your ears. Thank you, Tebe. Thank you, Brian. See you next week.
Sure. Later.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye.